So today we're talking about none other than Chanel, my holy grail fashion house, and the brand that I actually own the most luxury handbags from. I actually have 10 Chanel handbags. Because I have so many handbags, at least for me anyway, I thought I would do a ranking of my Chanel handbags, not necessarily from worst to best, but least used to most used. I've done a video like this in the past, I think literally like 2 or 3 years ago, and I only had 5 Chanel bags back then. Can you believe it? Because of that fact, it is definitely worth doing a little bit of a recap on the Chanel handbags that I do have in my collection, and also to impart some of that wisdom, if you will, around what bags do and don't work for me so much. And I will do these from 10 to 1, so from the least used to the most used, and this is just at this point in time. So you never know, in a year, 2 years time, I may be singing a whole different tune. And also, obviously, I have to put a disclaimer: if I comment on a bag not being good, it doesn't mean that you're not good. I know I shouldn't have to say that, but some people take stuff personally. It is 2023 on the internet. Let's get started. And in at number 10 is a bag that I actually feel really bad putting number 10, but there is a reason that it's number 10, and you may work out why once you see the bag. And it is none other than my vintage black Chanel crossbody bag. This is my mum's, I think one of her first Chanel bags. It was my first Chanel bag that I ever received. She gave it to me, it was a lovely gift, and therefore from that reason alone, I seldom use this bag because it's vintage, and even inside the lining once actually removed itself from the edges, I actually super glued it back on. And you know, I wouldn't even usually go for this style, to be quite honest with you. I like my bags to be a little bit bigger. This just about fits my phone if I do a diagonal moment, so it's not my own personal choice, but the fact that it has sentiment and value makes it more worth having. And because it's a black bag, it doesn't actually go really, especially for spring and summer. I think it makes it look a bit more formal, a bit more evening. So I try and go with other lighter colored bags or more neutral bags. And for all those reasons, the use cases of me whipping this bag out over all my other Chanel bags or other bags is few and far between. Now let's move on to number 9. And this one I think some of you will be shocked at. Certainly I am, because I thought I would have used this bag a little bit more. And actually this plus number 8, I think, interchange between which one usually takes which spot, but purely because of the fact that I've only used it like once in the last year, I feel like this one has to be number 9. And it is my Chanel mini, my iridescent pinky purpley mini. It is stunning, don't get me wrong, absolutely beautiful. It's a stunning colorway. It's also super rare and hard to find. From the color perspective, I think it is a little bit less functional than I had hoped, because it's not a pure pink or a pure purple. I feel like it's harder to style than I thought. And when I have made it work, it looks super cute, especially with my little furry baby here. I think maybe I just need to make more of an effort to try and bring this out more, because it is stunning and it does fit an awful lot. So, you know, I'm by no means shading the Chanel Mini. I always recommend the Chanel Mini when it comes to handbags, especially given the classic flat price increases of late. They are ridiculous, and I definitely don't regret buying this because it was a steal at the time that I bought it, but it just doesn't get used as much as I would like, which is a shame. So this is a signal for me to start using it again. Now let's move on to bag number 8, and sadly, it's my Chanel reissue, my jumbo reissue. It is stunning in this beautiful peachy apricot color, and the inside lining, boom, is this electric or navyish blue. And honestly, I thought I would get a lot more wear out of this when I bought it than actually owning it. I thought because it was this, you know, beigey, peachy color, that it would be neutral, but because it's got a little bit more of that orange tone to it, a little bit harder to style than I imagined, because it's quite warm undertone. It's almost terracotta in some lights, whereas a lot of the outfits that I wear nowadays are more cooler undertones. So this one is a little bit more of a pop of color than I initially thought, which is crazy, right? Because it's definitely not like a tangerine orange or something like that, right? It's a lot more muted apricot, but because of that, plus gold hardware, I have to wear very specific summer dresses, or like an orange dress would be perfect for it, but otherwise not that easy to style. And also because it's a jumbo, I have to be wanting to bring a a lot of stuff, and even when I bring a lot of stuff, this bag can get quite heavy because of the double flap. It does add a lot of weight. So in a way, it's kind of this weird in-between size. It's almost a little bit too big to wear on the go, day-to-day exploring, but it's a bit too small to be like a travel bag, because I usually find myself wearing it on holiday, because that's where I wear all my fun summer colors that are very warm, and it's warm weather and stuff, so it looks nice. But also if I'm bringing a lot of stuff. But this one does look good, it fits my frame. I don't think it will fit for everybody though, and I do find myself reaching for the bags that are way higher up in my list. Let's move on then to number 7, and this one, surprising that it is number 7, given that it's just a recent purchase. You know, arguably you think it might be further down because I haven't had that much time to use it, but actually I have used it a good amount. This is my Chanel shopping tote, I suppose. I don't think it's the same model as the GST, but let's say shopping tote anyway. Going to the airport, this would be my carry-on, or it would be a nice work bag. It does fit a small laptop. Plus it has feet, which is awesome, because that's what you want to do after a long day. You want to put your bag down and not worry about the damage. And obviously black, because hard wearing, classic, goes with everything. And you know, I've had great success with it so far. What I would say is I have to be going to like an office or catching a train or, you know, traveling abroad to bring this out. It is not as big as my Louis Vuitton Keepall or my On The Go tote by Louis Vuitton, because of how I use it for work and travel and how it fits so much. This one's a little bit smaller, so that's why it's not higher up in my list, because I only really use it for like one specific purpose, which is if I'm traveling somewhere, and it's somewhere that also I feel safe enough to be bringing a Chanel bag around as my travel tote. I think it's a bit bougie, isn't it? Other than that, it doesn't really get used. It's not one, is it, that you can bring out for, you know, running errands and whatnot. It's just simply too big. But it is a very functional bag. It's a very hard wearing bag. And it's also pretty inexpensive. So let's move now on to number 6. We are going higher up, and it is my very cute Business Affinity in the medium size, and it is in this beautiful dove grey colour. It's so squishy as well, I just love it. You know, I've covered this in so many videos. It's a really nice new classic, I think, for Chanel. They've come out since those, like, what, videos 3 or 4 years ago, maybe even longer, with many different size variations, even like the wallet on chain. And I do think that it is a very smart, elegant looking bag, but super functional. So many pockets. I mean, we've got a pocket here that actually fits my phone in fully on the back. In fact, let me just demonstrate to you. Here it is in the back. I mean, what bags do you have that can do that? When, you know, you're having a bag crossbody or on, you know, in the little hand crook or something, you can just get it out really easily. There's so many pockets inside, and you've got this outside pocket here, and you've obviously got a crossbody strap, which I've tucked in there for safekeeping. Love the top handle moment. Oh, it's adorable, isn't it? It is great for running errands on a long day out, because you can fit everything in, and the crossbody is very nice. I love the twilly on it. I think it adds a little bit of character. I tend to go with more cooler tones dresses. I think it looks better with a grey as opposed to warmer ones, more neutral, like a beige. The reason though that it's number 6 and it's the bottom half as opposed to the top is because I feel like sometimes it's a little bit of a little briefcase, and sometimes that is not my vibe. In some ways it's a bit formal, but then because of the size of it and how many little details there are on it, they jangle as well. It's not really appropriate for the nighttime, I feel. And in that way, maybe the briefcase seems a bit too casual. For evening events, something a little bit small would be better. Maybe it's the size. Yeah, maybe it's that. Does that make any sense? I think something to mention as well is the flap is a little bit wonky. I have covered this in another video. I think this is just an issue with Business Affinities. It doesn't bother me too much personally. I know it may bother others, but it doesn't mean I don't love it just as much as the day that I bought it. Okay, now we are into the top 50th percentile. We are in the top 5, and this bag is one that I think earns its place at number 5 because it is for a very specific set of occasions, and it is this Chanel Gold Pearl, acrylic pearl flat bag. This is my go-to evening bag, and the reason therefore that it is number 5 is because it is very strictly for that event, basically. The odd chance I will wear this out for the daytime, but It doesn't fit a lot, as you can probably tell, therefore I would have to know exactly where I'll be going, what time, and when I can go back and get changed or something if I was to wear this bag, or indeed if my partner or whoever I'm with can carry the rest of my stuff if I indeed do have other things, because in here you're realistically going to get a few cards in, your phone can fit however, and then a few bits of makeup, but for that reason it makes a great evening bag because it does look very evening attire. It also, you know, if you were to tuck the chains in, could be a great clutch. I like to have bags that can kind of transition between different types of events and occasions, so this is definitely one of them. And I think the detail at the top here, the acrylic and the pearl details with the Chanel encased inside them, is a very evening kind of moment, but it's obviously not higher up because it is primarily an evening bag and doesn't fit an awful lot, though it is very fun and I do enjoy it. So now let's move on to bag number 4. And this is my highly coveted Chanel medium flat bag, and it's in this gorgeous chevron, and it's got the Tiffany green or blue, depends what your eyes say, color. And this one was, gosh, so expensive. These are just going up in price at such a crazy rate, but I'm really glad that I managed to get my hands on this color because it is so special. And surprisingly, you know, a lot of people will probably have this color bag lower down in their list or not at all. But you know what? This goes really well with my cooler tone outfits. If I'm wearing a crisp white shirt or a plain jumper dress or grey tones, even some blue dresses that I have, this is obviously a treat. It is very flexible between blue toned and green toned colorways that I have. Not only does it match, but it also has the capacity as well. I do think actually, in retrospect, the medium classic flat size is the best for me. That is why I actually, spoiler alert, have 2 medium classic flaps in my collection, and it's because it fits just the right amount without looking overly bulky. I also love the fact that it's chevron, one of the few chevron bags that I have in my collection. It is just a really good conversation starter. I've not seen a color since like this. So now we're on to the top 3 bags, and I'm actually gonna show you the 3 bags in question because I'm actually not sure that you all know what bags are in my collection. We've got the mint small classic flap, we've got the Chanel Coco handle, and then finally we've got the Chanel medium classic flap in the navy. But in number 3, and this was a close one to be honest, and I will explain why, is my Chanel Coco handle. Now, the reason why this bag's in the top 3 is, as you can probably see, it is just a great all-rounder. It is beige, it's neutral, it goes with everything. It's a very classic silhouette, it's that trapeze shape, super elegant, and yet with a bit of a modern twist with the chevron. I think the options to wear it with a detachable strap for the shoulder and also the crook of the arm moment with the top handle is a very, very nice detail. And I also think the capacity is incredible. So much space inside. In fact, it's probably roomier than my Chanel Jumbo reissue, which is saying something because this was probably like half the price of it. And you also have feet, which, can you believe, Chanel actually added feet to a bag, so it could be actually functional. And I would say as a new classic, it is up there. And I honestly think if it comes to a decision between this bag and the trendy CC, which everyone says is quite similar, I think this bag is better than that bag for a number of reasons, namely the fact that it is a lot cheaper, the price is way more palatable than that bag. Also, I think the metal bar is way too gaudy, not for everybody. And also the quality of it, the material of the Trendy CC is lambskin. It is too soft, especially if you use it in like a lighter color where you can actually see scratches. It's not gonna be great. However, this bag is almost immaculate. Despite the many years that I've owned it, because it is in the grained calf skin, it is very fuss free and it's in such a light color, which you would honestly assume would have shown a lot more signs of wear than it currently does. So for that reason, that's why this bag is in the top 3 or at number 3. The reason why it's not the top spot or higher up is because of again, the size, the Achilles heel, if you will. It's a good thing, obviously, because it fits a lot, and I personally, you know, for outfits which I need an all-round bag, if I'm tight on luggage space, especially if I'm traveling, then this is a great option. Conversely, I think sometimes it can come across a little bit too bulky, especially if it's for a whole day event. And in the evening, you know, you want to be a little bit more low-key, you don't have that much stuff to bring. It can often be very, very tempting to fill this bag to the brim because it is so big and spacious. And then now we have the last two bags. And the two bags, of course, are the small classic flap in the mint color, and we have the navy classic flap in the medium size. Which one do we think it is? I'll give a moment for any guesses before I tell you. And in at number 2, wait no further, is the small classic flap. And the reason that this has made it so far on the top, honestly, it surprised me because of the color, is because actually I find this bag to be surprisingly versatile. And while I'm by no means somebody who wears a lot of green, I still don't. And I was a little bit worried at the beginning when I got this bag, you know, would I be able to work this into my outfits? I did have ideas and whatnot, but you know, it is a green bag. But because of the fact that it is very pale, and because it has a sheen to it, which makes it look a bit more off-white in certain lights, it's actually worked really well for me, especially when I have floral dresses or just, yeah, lighter pastel colored outfits. This actually pairs really nicely, and because of the size, it makes a great day to night bag because it is so, I guess, small, but also functional. It does fit enough. And I think it's just a very happy color to look at, especially in spring and summer, because it is the cutest green. It's like meadows and fields and pollen, I suppose. But that imagery aside, I think a very, very cute and unique color option in my handbag collection. We then move on to the winner on the most used Chanel bag in my collection, and that is my more recently purchased but very well used and well loved Chanel medium classic flap in this beautiful navy, almost this shiny iridescent kind of colorway here. And I bought this actually last year for my birthday, and honestly since then I've been using it in some respects almost on the daily because it is a great all-rounder. It honestly looks both navy and black in some lights, and I think the hardware also is a bit of a chameleon as well. It's like this champagne hardware, but it almost looks silver, which is great because I like to mix my metals these days. And I think the size is really good, fits a load of stuff, but for the evening, it doesn't look overly bulky. And I find myself wearing it, you know, like this in my hand, and also with these straps, kind of like this top handle moment or longer. And I think it makes a great evening bag too. And also because of the fact that it was my most expensive handbag to date, maybe even ever, and I hope at least ever, because they're getting into ridiculous territory now. So maybe I'm a little bit biased because of that, but I certainly do, despite that price tag, get my money's worth out of it. And I suppose the proof is in the pudding because it is my most used bag here in at number 1. So let me go ahead actually and order up all my bags for you so that we see the ranking. I probably should have done this a little bit earlier, but I forgot. And at number 10, we have my vintage Chanel. 9, we have my Chanel Mini. 8, we have my reissue bag. Oh my gosh, we're gonna run out of space. At number 7, we have my trusty tote bag. 6, we have my cute business affinity. 5, we have my gold cloth flap. 4, we have my Tiffany blue bag. 3, we have my Chanel Coco handle. I suppose that will be here. 2, we have the mint classic flap, the small classic flap, and then number 1, we have this Chanel classic flap in the medium size with this beautiful navy color. So that is the ranking, everybody. I hope you found this interesting. I do think that all of my bags, regardless of their position in this ranking, are all beautiful. I'd love to hear below down in the comments which bag is your favorite bag. So I will leave this video here for now. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.